Formal football in Peru spans more than a century. Since the first amateur league kicked off in 1912, 109 national titles have been contested, building one of the most dedicated fan bases in the sport. The distribution of those titles is historically lopsided. Nearly 70% of all national championships belong to just 3 clubs, while dozens of other teams have spent a century competing for the remaining slivers. This concentration of power has created a closed loop. Because these 3 teams win so consistently, they attract the majority of investment and media coverage, making it difficult for any outsider to break the cycle. For decades, that cycle was even tighter. The landscape was a strict duopoly controlled by the original Old Guard, Universitario and Alianza Lima. The rivalry was defined by a clear social divide. Universitario was the club of the affluent and the academic, while Alianza Lima was rooted in the city's working-class neighborhoods. In September 1928, these tensions reached a breaking point. Universitario won the match 1-0, but the afternoon is remembered as the Classic of Sticks. After 5 Alianza players were expelled for rough play, the match collapsed into a riot. Fans began tearing wooden support poles from the stadium and using them as weapons against the rival supporters. The event cemented a 2-party system that appeared impenetrable. For the next quarter century, the story of Peruvian football was effectively the story of these 2 clubs, until a new entity found a way to buy into the elite. The shift began in 1955, when the stockholders of the Bacchus and Johnston Brewery purchased a struggling local club in the Rimac district called Sporting Tobacco. They immediately rebranded the organization as Sporting Cristal, named after the brewery's flagship beer. The kits were changed to light blue, and the team was moved to a massive new training facility. This corporate backing translated into immediate results. In 1956, their very first season in the professional division, Sporting Cristal won the national championship. The new club earned the nickname the Club Born a Champion. It was a signal that success no longer required decades of community growth. It could be built from the top down with industrial-scale funding. Cristal used that funding to modernize the tactical landscape of the league, moving away from the physical style favored by the Old Guard. In 1962, they hired Brazilian World Cup winner Didi as head coach. He introduced a possession-based system focusing on technical skill over raw athleticism. The results established Cristal as an international force. During the 1960s, they set a record with a 17-game undefeated streak in the Copa Libertadores, proving they could compete with the best teams on the continent. By the 1990s, they were the dominant force in the country, winning 3 consecutive titles and reaching the 1997 Copa Libertadores final. This sustained success forced the original duopoly to adapt. To stay competitive with Cristal's modern infrastructure and international prestige, Universitario and Alianza Lima had to overhaul their own operations. Today, the league is defined by a 3-way rivalry. The presence of a third giant means every title race is a volatile balancing act where no team can afford to ignore the other 2. Matches between Cristal and Universitario have become tactical chess matches that often decide the season, while Alianza and Cristal are known for high-scoring offensive battles. The scale of the competition was on full display in the 2018 final, when Sporting Cristal secured the championship with a 7-1 aggregate victory over Alianza Lima. Rather than diluting the stakes of the league, the rise of a third powerhouse has increased the pressure on all 3 clubs to maintain their elite status. The historical standings reflect this era of dominance. Universitario holds 29 titles, Alianza Lima has 25, and Sporting Cristal has 20. The drop-off in titles after the top 3 is significant. The next most successful club, Sport Boys, holds only 6. Regional teams like Melgar or Binacional occasionally win championships, but historically, these titles are exceptions to a long-term pattern of dominance by these 3 clubs. The Big 3 is more than a nickname. It is a 3-way race for supremacy that continues to define the history and the future of Peruvian sport.